prepare for meditation, we'd like to introduce our speakers for the day, our beloved Valerie, Phillips, and Dennis Baker. Yes. So, Valerie Phillips is a native of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and a graduate of Norfolk State University with a degree in fine arts. Valerie has been a professional freelance photographer for over 30 years. Her photography credits include such notables as Patti LaBelle, Alice Walker, Cab Calloway, Jennifer Holliday, Rosa Parks, Aretha Franklin, Dominique Dawes, Maya Angelou, and Barack and Michelle Obama, just to name a few. Valerie has been commissioned to photograph special events including the Tipper Gore AIDS Walk, Human Rights Campaign, the YWCA National Capital Luncheon, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, 51st and 52nd National Conventions, and Phi Beta Sigma Incorporated. Valerie is known as the photographer who is always in the right place at the right time, and I would like to add, with the sweet and very special spirit.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Keith Dennis Baker, known lovingly as Dennis, who grew up in a small rural town in the Midwest. What town was that, Dennis? Perry, Iowa. He went to college without a clue where he was headed. I understand that. But he always heard this little voice that kept saying, "Go out there in the world." He had no idea where or what that outside world was until Divine Universe gave him the answer in the form of the Peace Corps. His Peace Corps experience in Africa was so impactful that once back in the States, he identified an organization that would fulfill his desire to continue assisting people in the developing world to realize their visions. Divine Universe once again connected Dennis to his purpose, this time to the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. His first assignment was in Vietnam, working in social welfare and internal resettlement of people displaced by the war. This led to a 28-year career in the USAID Foreign Service, where he served mostly in Africa. He retired in Senegal, West Africa, where he was a volunteer for a Catholic diocese for 16 years. Thereafter, he lived briefly in Morocco. Dennis moved to Washington, D.C., looking for something to assist him on his journey, and found Unity of Washington, D.C. He continues to be active in doing volunteer work with nonprofit organizations. So please join us in giving a warm Unity welcome to Valerie Phillips and Dennis Baker.
Good morning, Unity.
Good morning.
Can you say that again?
Good morning.
Thank you. Church family, my name, as you all know, is Valerie Phillips, and I have been called to serve as one of the Board of Trustees. Being that I am a Newfoundite, I think I said it right, I have also been charged with talking with you for a few minutes about whatever God has placed on my heart. Well, I would like to talk about faith that takes flight. We're all familiar with one of the most widely known scriptures of Matthew 17:20, where Jesus said, "Because you have so little faith, because you have truly, if you have faith like the grain of a mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move." But what does it mean to have faith like a grain of mustard seed? A mustard seed is one of the tiniest, most insignificant seed found in the area around the Eastern Mediterranean that includes Iran and all the countries in Asia to the west and southwest of Iran, the Middle East, I'm told that the mustard seed is fast-growing annual herb that can grow up to 10 feet tall in just a few months. The seed in this parable grew into a big, strong tree, much like the way in which our church congregation has grown over the years. And as we grew, so did the weight of our responsibilities to maintain and to continue to strive to fulfill God's call at such as these times. The same can be said for faith. Where there is a tiny bit of faith, it can grow to immeasurable proportions, spreading its influence far and wide, and benefiting those who it comes. Just hold tight, you know how technology is. Oh, okay, and benefiting those who come. The seed does nothing until it is planted. After that, it can overcome obstacles and even move rocks through its continual expansions and growth. Seeds are persistent, and they never give up. Where there is faith, there is a way. Like the mustard seed, as a congregation, must be persistent, we must never give up, and we must hold on to God's unchanging hand while we overcome obstacles, financial holes, and maybe move rocks through our commitment to work for the building of God's kingdom. Faith that takes flight when we trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not into our own understanding, but in all thy ways that we acknowledge him, he will direct our paths. So, in closing, I just want to remind us to give willingly, cheerfully, and joyfully to the glory of God. For it is God who gives us the power to get wealth, faith that takes flight. Blessings.
Is this what we figured out? So I'm following Reverend Sylvia's example. I always see the joy that she has when she's close to her people. And so I want to be close to you this morning. And I want to say thank you again for choosing Unity, for being with us this morning. We are serious about what we do here on our journey, and we're also a lot of fun. Yeah. As Reverend said, you know, Friday was the big volunteer dinner, and that, well, I tell you, that was an awesome party. You know, but I'm not naming any names here. No, whatever happened in the banquet room stays in the banquet room. But you know, we did have one senior who danced with her cane. And I said cane, not pole, you know. And there was another senior, she danced a little hard. I thought we were going to call 911 on her, but that was all right. But we had a lot of fun. It was not like the normal fellowship that we do downstairs. This, we were ourselves. We really were in a safe space. We loved each other, we laughed, we danced, we had a great deal of fun. So I'm inviting you all to be there next year, which means, obviously, Let's volunteer. Let's get involved, all of us. Because I would love to see all of you there next year, dancing, laughing, having a good time. And that's great. So you can see I have to have my papers, because if not, I don't even remember my name some days, you see. I want to share, so I'm not speaking to you. That's why I'm also down here. I'm speaking with you. I'm communicating with you. You know, what do I know? I don't know anything. I come from not knowing, and that is what opens me to all possibilities. Yeah. So that I heard from Reverend Milton in our latest class that we were doing. You know, he said, you know, don't concentrate on what you know or what you think you know. Concentrate on what you don't know. And there's where you're going to find your liberty, your freedom, your development. You expand into that space. So I wanted to tell you that, so I'm going to share something with you. You know, lately I've been going through a period of disconnect, of not belonging, and I couldn't figure that out. I said, well, wow, you know, is it just like depression or what? No, it was just, I discovered that out of this party, the party that we had on Friday, I discovered that feeling comes from me. I generate that feeling. You know, it's not something out there that makes me feel connected or not connected. I feel that. So I said, wow. So I said, if I can create that, I can create being connected. And so I feel connected. I feel more here, part of what it is. I also, today, if I want to continue to do, I speak in the I, with the first person singular I, because I learned from Reverend Rev Bev, that I can only speak for myself. Okay, so I hope that what I say, my I, will resonate with your I, and so be it if it does. If it doesn't, okay, that's all right. That doesn't fit. And you can imagine I'm, a work in progress, yes. You know, as I said before, you know, the ego knowing cuts me off, builds walls, limits. I can't do this, I'm afraid of that. But the knowing, not knowing, opens me to all the possibilities of the universe. I just wanted to repeat that. Yeah. You know, when I look out into this room, I'm very humbled by the amount of talent, the experience, your cultural, linguistic backgrounds. You're really, truly a group of people that has so much power and so much possibility to change the world. And that's seemingly what we're called to do. You know, it's very good for us to, I study. No, I'm not going to use we. I study, I come here and listen to the great messages of Sylvia every Sunday. I get my aha moments. I go to the classes, and I get that knowledge, those aha things. But then, in the end, I say, well, wow, do I just do this inside this building, inside these four walls? Or do I take that outside? And there's the question that comes up for me when I actually asked Reverend Milton the other day. I said, so I have all this, you know, intellectual understanding maybe. I said, but how do I get from intellectual understanding to living it? Because sometimes I doubt that I can do that. And so Mr. Fisher said, by meditation. So when we're quiet and we meditate, we then get out of the ego and we come into a space where we're open to intuition. That intuition that comes from divine universe, comes from inside of us, it's all the same. so I don't know if I'm getting lost here. Well, essentially, I have said, what I really wanted to share with you this morning. But I want to get to, when I was doing this, I read this article, and it said, "Love does not look away." And I said, "Wow, that's interesting. What does that mean? How's that work?" And the thought of Mother Teresa came up. And she was asked one time, somebody asked her, "Wow, how are you not overwhelmed by all the poverty, the crushing poverty, the illness, the dying people that you treat every day?" Her answer was, she says, "Well, I just take each case as it comes. I do what I can do, and then I take the next case. I go home at the end of the day, I sleep very well, and then I get up the next morning, and I start all over again." And she said, and at the end of each day, I express gratitude that I had the strength, in fact, to do what I do every day. And then I just continue on. And so, Mother Teresa's action and Marianne Williamson's words, it was Marianne Williamson, tells me love does not look away. Love does not look away from those who live with chronic economic, health, and social anxiety. Love does not look away from millions of traumatized, hungry, homeless children. Love does not look away from an endangered ecosystem that could lead to catastrophic consequences. Love does not look away from those who are deprived of equal opportunity. Love does not look away from the efforts of building bridges for harmony. In the words of Thomas Paine, we have it in our power to begin the world over again. As for me, I do not stop participating because I'm growing old. I would grow old if I stopped participating. So, I affirm that I'm open to divine guidance and have the qualities and determination to make a difference in my world. Love does not look away, and neither will I. Thank you.